Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my May reading wrap up. I almost said June. I do not know where I am in time or place anymore. That's good. So I'm here with my June wrap up. If you're new here, I do mid-month wrap-ups because I read so much. Generally speaking, I'm reading about 20 books a month, give or take, or 30. It just varies. This year it's been closer to 20 to mid-20s. So because of that, I do a mid-month wrap-up, and any of the books I talked about in that mid-month wrap-up, I will not be summarizing here or talking about in depth. I'll just share the title in the rating section it belongs to. And this is where we dive into my stats and all those good little bits of info. So first up, in the month of May, I read 19 books, which totaled out to about 5,176 pages, which I'm very, very, very happy about. And my average rating was a 4.21. I did have 2 6 stars this month, so that definitely boosted my average up a little more from my usual like 4.1. I do tend to DNF and put down books very quick. Not even count them as DNF, just put down books I don't think I'm gonna enjoy. I read 3 books from Kindle Unlimited, 2 books from the library. I had 2 rereads. And then my category breakdown was 18 adult books and 1 YA book. Then the format breakdown was 6 ebooks, 12 audios, and 1 manga. This also featured 4 new to me authors and 1 debut. So I like tracking that because I do like to make sure I am picking up new to me authors regularly. And my goal is always to have that be like, you know, 3 or 4 minimum every month. And 5 with debut is perfect. So let's jump right into all the books I read, because again, 19 books is still a good chunk of change for me. First up, we do have my 1 DNF, which is Battle Royal by Lucy Parker. I love Lucy Parker's writing, and I've loved previous books by her. This one just for me was not working. I tried it via audio and I was not feeling it, so I put it down. It is in my soft DNF pile, as in I will come back to it at some point to complete, but I really just did not enjoy the audio, and I don't think it was just what I needed in that moment, so we have DNF'd that. I didn't have any 1 or 2 stars, so we will jump right into 3 stars. First, we have the one I talked about in my mid-month, and you can go listen to on the Chapter 3 podcast, Zodiac Academy Awakening. I gave that 3 stars. Then we have Tangle of Need by Nalani Singh, which I'm also not going to go into too much detail on because I do have a whole reading blog dedicated to that. I will link it down below for you. But Tangle of Need, I gave 3 stars because I felt like the plot, I didn't care about the main couple. I was more interested in hearing more about the previous couples we were getting flashbacks to, which to me is not a good sign for a book containing the series. I also didn't care about the war happening or anything to do with that. So it just was a mess. Then for my 3.5s, we have Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa, which I had talked about in my mid-month and is also in my ARC vlog. Then we have Bonds of Justice, same thing, Psy Changeling. I enjoyed this one a lot more than I expected to. This was a human and Psy pairing, so that was really interesting. We had a J Psy, which we've not had before, and I thought this one was fun. It was an interesting book overall. It still wasn't as good as some of the other ones in the Psy Changeling series. Next, we have Crimes of Passion, which is an Audible original audiobook by Jack Harbin. This just came out like in the last week and a half or something, so I immediately picked it up when I saw it had dropped and dove in. It was a very quick listen for a day when I was just cleaning the house and getting some stuff together. It's like a 3-hour audiobook maybe. So because it's so short and quick, I feel like I blew through it and enjoyed it for the most part. I think like a lot of Audible originals, it suffers for its length, but this is a full production audio, so that means there are sound effects and multiple voice actors and all these little different bits to it. This follows 2 rival podcast hosts. They both host true crime style podcasts. One of them has started focusing on crimes against Black people that are unsolved and issues within that system, as in, you know, crime and justice and all that stuff. And the other one is more of a comedic one where they're roasting the killers. So know that going in, this may not be for you. I do want to give a quick content note here. We do discuss cannibalism in this, which is, I'm assuming, a made-up killer. I didn't like go look up if this was a real person. Murder, all those fun things. Anything that comes with a true crime podcast basically is in this book. And it was just really, really solid enemies to lovers, and it was a good enemies to lovers. Like their rivalry made sense, their enemy status made sense, and it just worked really, really well for me overall. I enjoyed it. Again, I just wanted more out of it. I think it needed a little more length, a little more to it. but within the constraints of an Audible original, one of the better ones. Then we have my 4-star reads. So we have 4 of them that I talked about in my mid-month, which are I Think I Might Want You by Christina C. Jones, Tryst 6 Venom by Penelope Douglas, Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma, and Bound by Avita Weiss. Next, the new ones are Play of Passion by Nalani Singh, which is another book in the Psy Changeling. I liked this one. Again, I would say go check out any of my vlogs about the Psy Changeling for more in-depth thoughts. This one was definitely much more solid and enjoyable of a read. It also had a really fun older woman, younger man dynamic happening, which is part of what my enjoyment of this book was. Yeah, so I settled around a 4 for it. I think I had it at a 3.5 on Goodreads, but I think I'm landing at a 4 because it was honestly pretty enjoyable and I liked how they figured out how they would work together. Then we have Railed by the Easter Bunny by Dahlia Davies. This is a Kindle Unlimited, like weird 100-page-ish novella situation. It might be more than 100, I'm not sure. Where our female main character goes to the goddess Esther and asks for help. And she says, sure, but I'm gonna give you to my son Jack, who happens to be the Easter Bunny / god of fertility situation. The gods have to mate with humans and have babies to then rule the world because they're not allowed in the human world. So it's very interesting how that all works out. And I think that it just was so fun that I'm dying for more from this author. First of all, like I need more in this world. I'm very curious about this world. Also, it just was banana pants bonkers in the best way, like the best way. So if you're looking for that, this book is perfect for you. If you like the weird bunnies, weird monster smut, weird penises, marshmallow flavored jizz, Railed by the Easter Bunnies for you. I freaking loved this book. It really surprised me. Then we have my 4.5s. We have Her Villains by Jade Presley, which the sequel just came out like yesterday or today. The day I'm filming this. Came out like at the end of May. So this was a great book. This is in my Marvel romance, reading romances inspired by Marvel video, so feel free to check that out. Then we have Titan by Gillian Graves. This is a daddy dom romance with a gargoyle. And if you liked the Gargoyle show and you've liked other gargoyle romances, you will enjoy Titan. Titan was so good. This had such great size difference and we had a tall heroine, so that was really cool. Along with the fact that we had a really interesting world setup. So they were hunting this item called the Keystone that would help them reach some of their relics they've since lost. And we follow Titan and Jules, who's a former child actor and is being hounded by her mother basically to give in and let them run her bank accounts like they've been running it and not fight them for that control. So we do have like some threats of a conservatorship and things like that, but she's a sugar baby and that's how she meets Titan and it's just spectacular. It was so good. Very good smutty time. Very, very good. Very, very good. Now we have my 5 stars. So first we have Electric Idol by Katie Robert. I read this in my ARC vlog and I freaking loved this book so much. I cannot believe how good this book was. And I honestly was just thrilled to read it at the end of the day. Like it was just so delightful. And this follows Psyche and Eros and basically they forge a union to get married to avoid him having to murder her at the orders of his mother Aphrodite. And it was so good. We had great fat rep in this. We had great sex, a nice slow burn, especially for Katie. I feel like this was a good slow burn. And I really fucking loved this book. If you don't want to read Neon Gods, I think you can go into this one without reading it and still enjoy this book a lot. And I will be reading Wicked Beauty very soon, so I'm excited to talk about that later this month. But it was really good. And this book was super gay. Like, both characters are bisexual or pansexual. Like, I loved that rep there. It just was there. Like, it wasn't a thing that was like overly like talked about. It just was like, oh yeah, they've both been with both. Like, they both hook up with anyone. Like, they don't, And I like to see that, you know. I love when it's not a big deal. Like, I like us when we have discussions in romances, obviously, but I think it's fun sometimes to read a romance where they're just like, yeah, we both just bang whoever we're attracted to. And I was like, yes, please, thank you, more of this. Then we have Kiss of Snow by Nalani Singh. This is the last of the Side Changelings on this list. I loved Kiss of Snow. This is one that I can see why it was polarizing. I know I had one of my viewers was talking about how this one turned them off of the series. I totally see that. This is a big age gap. This is Sienna and Hawk, who we've been building up to since like book 2, I think, and I freaking loved this. Sienna is a very strong-willed 18-year-old, and I think that's part of why it worked for me, and Hawk was never ever attracted to her or interested in her until she really started to pursue him as an adult. And I like how their relationship worked. I liked their dynamic so much, and I loved how that story unfolded. This is 100% one I want the UK copy of, and I can see myself revisiting. And I'm not a big rereader, so I feel like that says a lot about a book for me to be like, I really like this one. Next and last for the 5 stars, we have Again by J.L. Seegers. This is another Kindle Unlimited romance. This is a second chance marriage redemption novella. Again is another one that really surprised me. I read this because I wanted to know if I would like J.L. Seegers before I read her 500-page book. And this one was incredible. This focused a lot on some miscommunications they were having as a couple. I want to read J.L. Seegers' other book, which is a longer novel. This one for me, what surprised me the most, I think, is the fact that it was really hinged on miscommunication, and it wasn't actually about what I thought it was going to be about. I don't want to tell you because I feel like that reveal is very important to the story, but we definitely believe something different happened than what actually happened to break the marriage apart. And I loved how that unfolded and was shared in the book. I also loved that our hero Jackson was like, no, listen, I'm gonna prove to you why we belong together, and I'm gonna fix this, like 2 years later. So they're in Tulum for their siblings to get married. So their brother and sister are both getting married to each other. So like, that's a little weird, I guess, but it works as a setup. And I really just loved everything about this. The writing was so good, especially for a debut author, like a newer author. This is her second book. And I cannot wait to see what else she writes and to try her really long book, Restore Me. This, I do want to give a quick content note on though, does deal heavily with IVF and failed IVF rounds. There is no miscarriage on the page or anything like that, but she does talk about like IVF not working and having all these issues, and there is a magic baby epilogue. So know that going in, but honestly, some of my least favorite things, and I still really loved the ride I went on with this book. Next, my 2 6 stars, which are no surprise, I feel like, but maybe they are if you're new here. I am hosting a Hidden Legacy read-along with some friends, and I reread Burn For Me and White Hot last month, and I freaking loved these books. I was harder on them the first time I read them. I think I gave them 4.5 and 5 stars, but this time through, they're both 6-star all-time favorites for me. These are books that I will want to reread again and again, and I continue to love to revisit. So these are urban fantasies that I feel like Ilona Andrews just does it so well, and I don't know who else compares, honestly, at this point, which sucks. Like, I want more authors that I'm like, if you like Ilona Andrews, read these, but I don't have them for you currently, and I'm looking, but I've yet to find one that hits the same spot for me. This follows Nevada, who is a private detective, like private investigator, and Mad Rogan, who is determined to help her, hinder her investigation in Burn For Me. And it is just bananas, haywire. This is a world with magical houses, basically. So each family has a magical house, and they help rule Houston, and it just follows their entire world. It's kind of crumbling, dystopian-ish. But it is set in a time and place like Vine exists. That was funny. There was a Vine reference, and I was like, oh gosh, that puts this book in a time and a place for me. But yeah, I freaking love this series. I love their dynamic. I feel like Rogan and Nevada like go at each other at the perfect level. Like, they're very matched. So when they have issues and fight, or there are things happening, I'm not like, ugh, this feels really unbalanced because you're just not a match for him or her. But yeah, oh, it's so freaking good. And last, the one manga I read this month, I'm still like, I feel like coming off of 30 and 30. So I only read My Boyfriend in Orange volume 9 this month. I do plan on reading a lot more manga in June as well, just so you know, like, don't be surprised. But yeah, I read that, and that was in my mid-month wrap-up. So that's everything I read in June. Let me know what you were loving in May, or if you have a book you're really excited to read in June. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a rainbow emoji, because we are in Pride Month, and as your neighborhood queer girl, I am just so excited to be here for Pride, and that we're in Pride Month, and you know, it's just a good time. It's just a good time. I don't love rainbow capitalism always, but you know what? I just love having a month sometimes. It's a fun thing. Anyways, you can do that in the comments. And if you want links to any of these books or links to my friend anywhere on the internet, those will all be down there in that description box. And I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get